What is e-commerce? What is D2C? What is dropshipping? How do all these things connect? That is what this module is all about. I'm just gonna go ahead and give you guys just a brain dump on everything I know about all this stuff, and hopefully you guys can put the pieces together. I'll try and structure it out as well, but yeah, that's what this module is all about. I'm gonna try and do this with as many examples that I can think of. But with that, let me get started with e-commerce, right? So e-commerce is literally just an online form of commerce, right? You go to a store, you go to Walmart, you go and buy something. You're doing the same exact thing, but online, but on a website. And the great thing about e-commerce is that it allows brands to practice D2C, which means direct to consumer. This means that you don't need to send it to like a Walmart. You don't need to send it to an Amazon, although you can. You can just directly ship the product out from your warehouse or China or whatever, straight to the customer. So that's D2C, and many brands thrive off this model. Y'all, Sweet Tea, Gymshark, High Smile, Manscaped, all these brands, they're direct to consumer. They do not have any shelf space in Walmart, or some of them might, but like a lot of these brands just thrive off the D2C model because they're like, why would we want to compete with a bunch of other brands like Gillette competing with a bunch of other brands? Why would we want to do that, right? Because these are already household names. Why not use these advertising platforms and put our products there in front of people's faces where they are, right? Because in a marketplace that isn't as competitive, where it's like you go to Walmart, you see Gillette, you see this brand in front of you. That is what D2C empowers these brands to do. And e-commerce has become the new norm in a way because a lot of these people just live fully online, right? And that's where these brands are coming to get you. They're coming to get you online. Like, these people statistically live on their phones. So of course, brands are gonna wanna be in front of them. And sure, there are older audiences that prefer to go in person and buy things, but there are a couple of issues there. Like, yes, brands eventually do go to retail to unlock more revenue, but the thing is, you don't have that much advertising control, and the margins are very thin in this kind of model, right? You have to compete live, and e-commerce really gives power to the brand itself. A clear example of this would be the Coldest Water CEO who joined our live, and he himself said that I think 98% of his sales are D2C e-commerce through his online store, right? And maybe 2% is retail. So it is important to diversify, but there is a level of complication when you're going straight to retail. So there is a clear pattern here, right? Brands used to dominate the retail space, but now they're all online. And that's exactly where we come in. We strive to set up brands online and take a piece of this pie. All of the traffic, TikTok, Meta, Google, they're all digital. Pinterest as well, it's all digital. We want to monetize the audiences on these platforms by directing them to our store and hopefully getting a sale. To keep it very simple, we want to set up a store on Shopify, which is going to be our brand house, where we're going to host our products. And what we're going to want to do is take the traffic from Google ads, from TikTok ads, from Meta ads, and bring these people to our store. The algorithms in Meta and TikTok, right, they already know which people would be interested in buying our products. We want to leverage that. They made these advertising platforms for that reason. We want to leverage that. And the hardest part is to obviously make a creative on these platforms that will really speak to the customer. You want to make sure that they feel heard and seen just through the creative. Then when they come to the website on Shopify, you also want to make sure your funnel is optimized for checkout, right? You want to make sure it's not cluttered. You want to make sure that it's clean, and you want to make sure that the product itself speaks to them. Every single thing matters when you do it through this branded approach, right? And that is how you scale, and that is how you make sales. And that covers the entire front end, right? The advertising platforms, you have your Shopify store, your website, your product, all that is the front end. Now your back end matters here too, right? The shipping, the fulfillment, right? The product that you've selected. Are you investing heavily into your product? Which is something we want to do as time goes on. And that's where the most important part, the product, comes in, because that is what your customer will be buying, which is going to be the focus in the second part of this video. And so as a beginner, I would always recommend dropshipping for many reasons that I'm going to describe below. And it really isn't dead at all. We do it all the time. We spin up dropshipping stores all the time. There are brands that only are dropshipping stores, and they scale to 100, 200, 300K days. All in all, it's an amazing way to actually test and validate your product. So all dropshipping is a fulfillment model, which means that if you get an order, how will you send this order out? And you're doing that via dropshipping, which means that you have an agent in China, or you're using AutoDS or Zendrop to send the order from China to America, right? That's basically it. Now, there aren't many differences between dropshipping and owning a brand. Usually, all owning a brand means is that you're sending your product in bulk straight to America in a warehouse, and then you're shipping out of America. Obviously, there's a couple of differences like the branding on the box itself, the product being, a unique product and not a white labeled product from China, and, going in with the supplier and really making your changes. But I do think there's a process, right? So the way usually you should be thinking about this is dropshipping is your testing phase. When you are dropshipping, you're just testing to see if people care about this product, if your ads are working. An example of this would be that I find a product, right? I'm like, hey, this product might work in the market. Let me tell my agent, let me get the shipping set up, and let me just run some ads. I run some ads, I see if there's demand for this product. If there is, then I start taking it more seriously. I'm like, wait, I should be ordering stock for this. I should be talking to my factory and making some changes to it and ordering custom stock. That is when you reach the branded route. But at the start, when you're dropshipping, you can still make a lot of money. There are brands that solely do dropshipping, $200,000 to $300,000 a month, and their ads are just that powerful, right? But I still want you to think of it like this. Start off with dropshipping, validate your product, see if, the people are happy with the product, see if your ads are working, see if you're able to build a business around it, and then you can order stock to America via 3PL and ship it out to your customers. Obviously, you want to box it up. Obviously, you want to brand it up. And obviously, you want to make sure that nobody can rip you off. And that's why being a brand is helpful, because people are going to have eyes on your dropshipping brand. Anyone can come in and rip off that product. So you want to get out of that dropshipping phase as quick as possible. So hopefully that explains dropshipping. And the great thing is with dropshipping, you don't need to purchase inventory up front. Your agent in China can just hold all of your inventory for you. You don't need to pay up front, and you just ship out products, and the revenue that you're getting, you can use that to pay for the cost of goods instead of betting big and ordering, 5,000 units and then hoping that your ads pick up, and then you're just stuck in debt if you're unable to sell. That's why dropshipping is so good and really accessible for people that are young like us that don't have that much money. We don't have that much money to invest in inventory. So instead, it makes much more sense to just do dropshipping and just pay based on the demand. What you can do then is to actually use the dropshipping model to perfect your advertising, to perfect your funnel, and to perfect all the things that around your business, right? Once that's perfected, then you can order inventory with confidence. So obviously with dropshipping, because you're buying it one at a time, you're not ordering in bulk, things are still a little expensive, right? And you want to get the prices down. And because of this pricing, what you need to do then is to mark up your product much higher than it needs to be. So that's why your branding needs to be so strong to really convince the customer to buy off of your website. And also you have to account for the ad cost as well. So you have the cost of goods that is pretty pricey and the ad cost to worry about. That's why your margins have to be pretty high up. You also have to think about the shipping. With the right agent and with the right fulfillment team, you should have orders reaching customers within 7 to 10 days. Otherwise you risk chargebacks. So there is a big machine that's working here, as you can see. And then obviously, as you begin to scale, if your ads are taking off, even if you're dropshipping, which has happened with dropshipping, I've done $300,000 in just 1 month. So it can pick up, and that's where financial literacy, credit cards, cash flow really come into play, and we have modules for that as well. Of course, there's way more, but hopefully you guys understand what dropshipping is and how it's just a fulfillment model and how you have to treat it like a business, like a whole operation. But the great thing about dropshipping is that it gives, honestly, kids that are 18, 19, the ability to start their own businesses without having to order inventory up front and really leverage their branding and UI UX skills to build a beautiful website and funnel. At least people can get their foot in the door, understand cash flow, understand what it takes to build a business, customer psychology, forecasting, etc. And to prove my point, there are so many companies that initially started off with dropshipping, like Manscaped, Gymshark. They all started off with a dropshipping model. They then reinvested their profits into the business to really perfect their product, perfect their packaging, and listen to what their customers were saying. And that's how they became one of the biggest brands ever. And again, the only difference between dropshipping and running a brand is how you fulfill. So hopefully that was a helpful enough summary. Let's jump into the first step of this course, which is product hunting and research.